doesn't seem to be the right side.
I know, that's what I said, so stop doing it. Stop. Just have to.
Is that stop?
Yeah, it doesn't fit, so just stop.
And your state champion for 2025 was Woodland Regional High School.
Do you have like clips somewhere? What?
Shut this door in the closet. It's in the bag. Or the
I
closet.
can shut it.
Or not the closet. Yeah. Jen, how do I turn this on? I got it. Oh. Here, Sergey, I can do that first. Sergey, I can do that. Just got it.
Our C final 200-yard medley relay is Berlin in lane 4.
Jen's probably going to sit here, yeah. We can film this whole thing. Oh, another person. I would say no. Thanks, sorry.
That's a mountain peak here. These are some of the top.
Jen, can you lower this to 7?
What?
Swimming the B final, heat number 200 medley relay, lane 1, Oxford, lane 2, Lamar, lane 3, Seymour, lane 4,
Check the settings and
Okay, so audio appears to be okay.
I'll check.
And we welcome you live on the NFL Chef's Network from Cornerstone Aquatic Center for the 2026 CIAC Boys SS Spring Championship. Our championship medley relay. We just had the C final. Here is the B final with Plainville in lane 4, the top expected seed. Rocky Hill in lane 5, Seymour in 3, Ellington in 6, Sheepog Valley in 2, Nonawag in 7, Oxford in 1. They finished second last year, and O'Brien Tech in 8. Now to the butterfly, and a sizable lead opened up by Ellington as their breaststroker Hayes Hayden. Hayes Haddon, the senior, gives way to Sai Nurmuth Kapu, who is their breaststroker. So Kapu handed about a 5 to 6 length lead for Ellington in this B final with the championship heat to follow. And now to lane 4, the breaststroker for Plainville, Darren Paznokas, is putting on some pressure, and now we're off to the anchors. And Ellington, with Campbell Halpin, freshman anchor as their freestyler, has about a 3.5 length body length lead on Plainville's Aiden Machasek. So Machasek trying to make up some ground on the turn. Machasek's done that. It's down to about 2 body lengths in lane 4, but in lane 6, it'll be Campbell Halpin touching first to capture the B final in the 200 medley relay. Plainville finishes in second, and in third at lane 2, Sheepog Valley with a strong freestyle finish for Noah Schildgen, a sophomore, to touch in 1, 2, 3, Ellington, Plainville, and Sheepog Valley. Great to visit and meet again with Sheepog Valley head coach Chris Papson. Now to our championship heat. Defending champion Northwest Catholic. They are in the championship heat, but in lane 2, Weston is the top seed. In lane 4, they finished third last year. Brendan Leahy will be their backstroker to get them started. Northwestern Regional in lane 5. In 3, Watertown. In 6, Holy Cross. Woodland in 7. Lakeview, a second-year combined program, is in 8. Northwest Catholic, as I said, in 2, and Granby is in lane 1. So the backstroker for Weston, Brendan Leahy. Anthony Ficalora, experienced swimmer for Northwestern Regional, will be the backstroker, while Watertown's Aiden Benjamin could also be a factor to try to set things up for their freestyler and anchor in Noah Metcalf. This is Class S, the smallest schools, as we have wall-to-wall swimming to conclude the Connecticut Championships, with the State Open coming up on Saturday at Yale. It's a wide open field, so these relays, particularly here, could decide so much. Woodland graduating a huge class last year. Northwestern finished second. Woodland winning by 3 last year. Weston finished third. Watertown, what a great story it's been for Coach Brianna Murphy after winning the league and the league championship. And Oxford, always a factor. Oxford finishing 5th a year ago. Co-head coach Ray Snyder this year, they graduated 9 seniors, just 12 on the roster for Woodland, but they hope to still be a factor, while Northwestern, with a huge roster, led by longtime head coach Mary DeMoro. Mary is in her 16th season, and now joined by her son Jason. Meanwhile, Weston only graduated 2 seniors for Coach Brandon Barone, so they should be a factor too. Key issue though, Weston does not have a relay team here in the 200 medley relay. Or I should say Weston is the 4, is the top seed, but Woodland down in 7. Northwestern, meanwhile, they graduated a lot. At least 50% of their points from a year ago, 8 seniors, but this year it's a larger group that's scoring organically, led by senior Anthony Ficalora. And Ficalora is going to be in the 100 backstroke as a potential state champion today. Ficalora will lead off this medley relay for Northwestern in lane 5. So Ficalora into the water. So is Brendan Leahy in lane 4 for Weston. And underway in the state Class S final in the 200 medley relay with the backstrokers in the water. And predictably, it is Ficalora with a healthy lead in lane 1. Granby's Luca Daniele with a strong first 10, but Weston's Brendan Leahy made up a lot of water. Now to the butterfly, and the butterfly battle with Jacob Rosen of Weston as he is surpassed by with Reed Nadeau in lane 5 of Northwestern. Now for the final 25, and look at the work done underwater by Weston's Jacob Rosen. And Rosen is going to hand it off to Leka Mustafa, the breaststroker, with a lead of at least 5 meters. What work by Jacob Rosen. So Mustafa chased by Quinn McCormick of Northwestern. As the Northwestern breaststroker, Watertown's Derek Vasquez Amaya, a freshman, also trying to make up ground. But this is a sizable advantage for Weston, and Mustafa giving to the freestyler in Alexander Kaufman to try to capture the state and get Weston off to a great start at the Class S championship. And out of lane 4, Noah Metcalf will touch by 5+ meters. Weston captures the medley relay. Second will go to Northwestern Regional. Third will go to Northwest Catholic. So Northwest Catholic, Grayson Bordeaux, their butterflyer, had a strong swim, and then a strong finish from freshman Cooper Kimball, a name to remember for Northwest Catholic, to take them into 3rd place after winning the 200 medley relay last year. Oh, we got some. So we get ready for the 200 freestyle, our first individual event. First of 3 heats, getting ready. Former Olympian Kieran Smith has the state record set back in 2018. Just getting underway, Ralph Bednarczyk with you on the NFHS Network. I'll be with you tonight as well as for both championships tomorrow to conclude things in Class L, then tomorrow with the M and Double L here from the Cornerstone Aquatic Center in West Hartford. Small facility, so you better get here very early if you're not going to watch our stream, or you might, because this will be available on demand after the fact. So Weston 1, Northwestern Regional 2, and Northwest Catholic and East Catholic combined finishing 3rd. 4th to Watertown. And Watertown in the midst of a tremendous ascension under 7th-year coach Brianna Murphy. Brianna, when she got the job 7 years ago, there were only 7 in the program. Today, there are 38 on the roster for Watertown, and that in itself is a tremendous story about building a program, particularly where numbers have been down across boys swimming across the board. We have at least 2 new, to my knowledge, 2 new co-op or combinations, just as Lakeview as a school district newly formed, that'll be participating here, as 2 school districts essentially merging into one to create the Lakeview Bobcats. So numbers being down in a number of places in boys swimming. But yeah, great work by Watertown coach Brianna Murphy in order. Watertown claimed their first Naugatuck Valley League championship since 2004 and dethroned the rebuilding and reloading Woodland program this year. And they bested Naugatuck and Seymour after Woodland had won 4 straight. So Watertown hopes to take that with them even further and use their tremendous depth. So we'll pause for a moment. You're watching the 2026 Connecticut Class S Boys Swimming Championships on the NFHS Network.
It's working, it's just not level.
Okay, what's that?
It's working, it's just not level.
It's just not level?
Yeah, so we're gonna bring it down again.
You mean the audio level?
No, you're perfect.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. And we welcome you back on the NFHS Network from the Cornerstone Aquatic Center in West Hartford, Connecticut. Boys Class S Swimming Championship. We're up to the 200 freestyle. First individual event, heat number 1. In lane 4, Noah Metcalf of Watertown. Lane 5, Dylan Costable of Abbott Tech. In 3, Elliot McCardle of Lakeview. Jack Curtin is in lane 2 of Northwest Catholic East Cath. Christian Orlovsky of Woodland in 1. Cheyenne Gavami of Oxford in 6. Alfio Serraldo of Seymour in 7. Aiden Sevick of Oxford in 8. After the first 50, good swim so far of senior Aiden Sevick of Oxford. He is in the near side of your picture in lane 8. And Sevick through the first 75. But now some leaders establishing in lane 4 with Noah Metcalf of Watertown, surrounded by Dylan Costable on the bottom portion of Abbott Tech in 4 and Elliot McCardle of Lakeview. So that troika remains very compact, but Aiden Sevick of Oxford still in about 4th on the near side. So we might end up with a pretty good finish here. Out of 5, Dylan Costable of Abbott Tech. He is first on the turn. Metcalf of Watertown. Metcalf, strong turn by Noah Metcalf to now take a lead by perhaps half of a head. And McCardle of Lakeview in the top portion of your picture has now back to a more distant third. Actually, no, now it is McCardle off the turn that has surpassed Costable. He is in a firm second. But it is Noah Metcalf of Watertown in his third heat on the touch. Costable of Abbott Tech in third, and Elliot McCardle of Lakeview does take second. Fourth to Cheyenne Gavami of Oxford. Turning to our B final. Fully loaded, 8 lanes occupied. The top seed is Rocky Hills' Evan Gerasi. Patrick Brett of Northwestern Regionals in 5. Teammate Jay Foster's in 6. In 3, Brett Olson, also of Northwestern. Philip Talar of Plainville is in 2. Arkadiusz Krzyzewski of Woodland is in 1. Agron Mustafa of Wilton is in 7. And Dominic DiFranzo of Holy Cross is in 8. Or I should say Agron Mustafa of Watertown, not Wilton. The abbreviation tripping me up. So underway in the second heat in the boys 200 freestyle. And after the first 50, lane 6, Jay Foster of Northwestern has established himself. Agron Mustafa of Watertown in 7. This is probably his greatest challenger. At about to touch through 75 meters. Lane 5, Patrick Brett, still leads a very crowded pack. And there's about 4 swimmers that are within a body length through the first 100. But doing some great work underwater, Patrick Brett of Northwestern Regional. And Brett is now separated. It's an easy body length. Jay Foster of Northwestern in lane 6 is his closest challenger. And now Brett back on the turn, and now out of lane 4, Evan Gerasi of Rocky Hill may have something to say about that. As Gerasi closed the gap on Patrick Brett of Northwestern. Look at Brett come. It'll be close, but it will be Patrick Brett of Northwestern. And Evan Gerasi of Rocky Hill takes second. If there was another 15 meters, Gerasi could have won. He made his move, but just ran out of water. Third to Brett Olson, also of Northwestern. And Jay Foster of Northwestern in 4th. So here is where Northwestern is starting to pile up the points, and their depth as a program makes them be a prohibitive favorite today, despite having graduated 3 college swimmers and 8 seniors. So to our championship heat, in lane 4, William Harrington of Watertown, who finished 3rd last year. Anthony Mascolo, or rather Harrington of Wilton. Mascolo of Watertown in 5. James Campbell of Lakeview in lane 3, the 3 seed. Jeremy Tomaszewski of Seymour's in 2. Fisher Haddon of Ellington in 1. Owen Fern of Berlin in 6. Lincoln Prenovo is in lane 7 of Lewis Mills. And Robert Winslow of Wilton. Winslow and Wilton in 8. After the first 75, lane 4, William Harrington, and his experience. What kind of factor will that be today? Lane 5, Anthony Mascolo of Watertown. In lane 5, he appears to be his closest competitor. Mascolo wants to set school records, telling Coach Brianna Murphy about that 4 years ago. He has no quit, expecting to swim at Iona College, and swims for the New Milford Barracudas. Mascolo out of lane 5, keeping the pressure on William Harrington of Wilton. Harrington with a strong turn. It's less than a half body length. Mascolo, bottom of your picture in lane 5. Mascolo, last surge. It's not enough. Harrington takes it. Mascolo takes second. James Campbell of Lakeview in 3rd. 4th goes to Owen Fern. Congratulations to William Harrington, who a year later, after finishing in 3rd, takes home the state title in the 200 freestyle. And beg your pardon, William Harrington of Weston is your champion. So proud coach Brandon Barone Will Arrington had a very good year last year, but declaring he was going to do big things this year, and he has shattered a lot of his numbers, particularly in the 500. William Arrington, also a water polo player at Weston with the Greenwich Aquatic Club, only started doing club swimming this year in season with Chelsea Piers, and he has greatly enhanced his profile, where Harrington now as a junior goes in as a legitimate college prospect. So congratulations to Weston's William Harrington. And Lakeview's James Campbell takes third. Lakeview has 21 members of the team, including 7 girls in a combined program under Coach Fran Marchand. Campbell only learned how to swim 4 years ago. Great credit goes to former assistant coach with Ramogo High School when that existed, Megan McLean, who taught him. They only have a 4-lane pool. But a fascinating story that Lakeview, combining a pair of school districts, and that will be a factor in many different sports. Now we go to the 200 IM. And starting with the butterfly, the back, the breaststroke, and the freestyle. First of 3 heats, Mitchell Picard of Northwest Catholic. East Catholic is in 4. Andrew Dauphiné is in lane 5. Hanku Zhao, also of Northwest Catholic, in 6. Evan Kurla of Lakeview in 3. Aiden Machashek of Plainville in 2. Tyler Gear of Watertown in 1. Grant Parker of Lakeview in 7. And Jack Krauthamel of Woodland is in 8. Now to the backstroke. And Mitchell Picard of Northwest Catholic, East Catholic has a comfortable lead as he turns over to the breaststroke. And getting a push from lane 6, Hantu Zhao, also his teammate from Northwest Catholic. Mitchell Picard, his breaststroke has kept him in the lead. Hang Tu Zhao still in second over Andrew Dauphiné in lane 5. Now to the freestyle finish for Mitchell Picard. And his lead has only increased. It's about a body length and a half for Mitchell Picard of Northwest Catholic. In lane 3, Evan Kurla of Lakeview takes second. Third to Hang Tu Zhao. Fourth, Andrew Dauphiné. So Kurla of Lakeview made the greatest sudden jump out of lane 3 to reach second. Now our second heat in the 200 IM. Loaded with Weston and Granby representation and Watertown representation. Lane 4, Brendan Baker of Watertown. Jacob Byer of Woodland is in 5. Sam Ferrero of Granby in 3. His teammate Sadie Rubin is in 2. freshman young lady. Derek Vasquez Amaya of Watertown's in 1. Nicholas Lebedev of Weston is in 6. Paul Tomaselli, also of Weston, in 7. And young lady Phoebe Conklin, a freshman of Housatonic, is in lane 8. Now as they turn over to the backstroke, Samuel Ferreira of Granby was off to the best start. Granby under head coach Ellis Winfrey. And out of lane 1, Watertown's Derek Vasquez Amaya did some great work out of the water. But now as they take a bigger picture look, lane 7, Paul Tomaselli of Weston has surged as the leader as we turn to the breaststroke. So it's Tomaselli in 7. Lane 5, Jacob Byer of Woodland is hovering in the mix. And now it's Brendan Baker who has asserted himself here in the breaststroke for Watertown. He's going to touch first. And now head over to the freestyle. So now who can race? Lane 5, Jacob Byer of Woodland appears to be his lone challenger. And Baker only increasing his lead. Lane 3, Samuel Ferrero of Granby has a chance for second. The battle's for second. Baker touches up, and it will be Byer of Woodland in second. Samuel Ferrero. And actually, they'll have Ferrero of Granby touch second. So Ferrero narrowly over Byer of Woodland. So Granby able to take second in the heat. And taking fourth, also freshman from Granby, Sadie Rubin. The girls are eligible to swim with the boys in the spring if they either play a different sport in the fall. For example, Watertown has several soccer players that swim in the spring, or if the school does not have enough girls to have their own team and cannot combine with anybody else because of distance reasons or logistics. So that's why you will hear about girls swimming with the boys in certain instances in the springtime. Now to our championship heat. Defending state champion David Korzeniowski of Bolton. He is one of 2 Bolton swimmers only. Lane 5, Weston's Alexander Kaufman. Lane 3, Hayes Haddon of Ellington. Tucker Marchand in 2 of Lakeview. Luca Daniele of Granby is in 1. Anthony Ficalora of Northwestern's in 6. Liam Denning of Shepaug Valley in 7. Grayson Bordeaux, who finished 6th last year, of Northwest Catholic in 8. Ficalora last year finished 4th in this event. For Korzeniowski, who is a UConn commitment, a United States qualified swimmer, could be the swimmer of the meet as he turns to the backstroke, and Korzeniowski already with a sizable lead. And David Korzeniowski to finish up the final 15 of the backstroke, and his lead is by about a full body length as he switches over now to the breaststroke. Korzeniowski last year finished 8th in the 200 IM in this event at the State Open after winning this event with a 1:56.29. So we'll see if Korzeniowski will shatter that number today. Out of lane 3, Hayes Haddon of Ellington is the closest at second. This is all David Korzeniowski racing against himself. He's opened up a lead of about 3 body lengths. Final turn in the freestyle. David Korzeniowski Just 2 Bolton swimmers. He is going to come home with his first state title of the day. Korzeniowski goes back-to-back. This year he shatters the number 153.67. 3+ seconds better than a year ago. Hayes Haddon of Ellington takes second. Third, Alex Kaufman of Weston. And fourth, Anthony Ficalora of Northwestern. So congratulations to David Korzeniowski. The 2 Bolton swimmers have an unusual setup where they swim and practice with Manchester Regional under head coach David Humiston. Korzeniowski did not swim for the high school, just swam club. There was no Bolton program offered. But then ahead of last year, Korzeniowski, along with his one other teammate at Bolton, requested David Humiston be their coach. So they, in effect, jumped onto the Manchester Regional program. And Korzeniowski has 4 college-bound swimmers to work with daily with Manchester Regional. Club swimmer with Bluefish after 2 years at Lehigh. And Korzeniowski aims for a significant day before he heads into Saturday's State Open at Yale. Up next will be our 4th event of the day in the 50 free.
Am I in your way too much when I come back? I was gonna say, or come forward more if you can, because then at least.
Cameron Salem of Oxford is the top seed here. Lane 5, Jonathan Charpalaz of Northwestern Regional. Scott Viveros of Nonawag in 3. Cooper Kimball of Northwest Catholic, East Catholic in 6. Tristan Spallone of Haddon Killingworth in 7. Wilson DeShazo of Northwestern Regional in 8. Aiden Brown of Holy Cross in 2. Cy Nurmuth Kapu of Ellington was in 1. And the heat won by Cooper Kimball, freshman of Northwest Catholic. Second to Jonathan Charpalaz of Northwestern Regional. And in third, Cy Nurmuth Kapu of Ellington. Second heat, Braylon Diamore of Northwestern in 4. Chris Plage of Rocky Hill in 5. Nathaniel Stull of Lakeview in 3. Cullen Bonus of Housatonic in 6. Jake Southard of Woodland in 7. Connor Tolmie of Emmett O'Brien is in 8. Sebastian Orfatelli of Bolton in 2. Noah Shilkin of Shippog Valley is in 1. Underway in the second heat. This will be very close, but in lane 4, Braylon Diamore is there in the touch. Lane 2, Sebastian Orfatelli of Bolton. David Korzeniowski's lone teammate, 2 seniors at Bolton, and perhaps the last 2 Bolton swimmers for a long time. They don't have anybody else, so unfortunately, Bolton may be a program that we don't hear about for several years down the road. Championship heat headlined by Elias Krukar, the 1 seed, 3rd last year, senior from Lakeview. Nick Damon of Watertown is in 5. Flynn Priest of Northwestern in 3. Tavis Courier of Holy Cross in 2. Maddox Poitras of Nonawag in 1. Tom Halligan of Seymour in 6. Maximilian Kasperuk of Seymour in 7, and Jacob Rosen of Weston is in 8. Elias Krukar. State Open qualifier, a real student of the sport at 6'3". He will swim at Division III Power Rowan in the NJAC Conference. Very devoted, swims for the Farmington Valley Club. Out of lane 4, Krukar by a half body length over Nick DeMond of Watertown, and it is Krukar, 21:38. Elias Krukar is the state champion in the 50 freestyle. Flynn Priest of Northwestern finishes 3rd. 4th to Tom Halligan, a freshman of Seymour. Nick DeMond finishes 0.12 of a second behind, but the 21:38 of Elias Krukar. About a second off of the state record. So we're 4 events complete. Then event 6 will be the 100 butterfly. After a timeout, I'll get you the diving results and an update on the score when we return. You're watching the 2026 Boys Class S Swimming Championships on the NFHS Network. Okay, we can come back.
Cut it.
Cut it. And welcome back on the NFHS Network. Time for Event 6. Ralph Bednarczyk with you from the Cornerstone Aquatic Center in West Hartford, Connecticut. Boys Class S Swimming Championships, the smallest schools. Here's a look at the leaderboard. Watertown, as expected, 206 points. Weston is in second, 198. Northwestern Regional, 158. Lakeview in fourth, 155. Woodland, defending champion, 141, holding their own. Holy Cross in sixth, 130. Sheepog Valley, 117 is your top 7 at the moment. Here's the diving championship that took place last week. Congratulations to Northwestern sophomore Maeve Bean, diver for Northwestern Regional. Maeve is the state Class S champion. Congratulations to her. Nick Nunzik of Sheepog Valley is finished second. Woodlands Alexander Regali in third. Cameron Tisi of Sheepog Valley in fourth. Tyler Pachkovsky of Woodland in fifth. So that's the diving, and up to the 6th event of the boys 100 butterfly. First of 3 heats, the C final. Lane 4, Phoebe Conklin of Housatonic, just a freshman. Dante Yanatono of Holy Cross in 5. Victoria Borgolini of Sheepog is in 3. Darina Dobruna of Holy Cross in 2. Rijol Chudhari of Rocky Hill in 1. Sophia Brenson of Granby, East Granby in 6. Tyler Gear of Watertown in 7. Aiden Machashek of Plainville is in 8. Approaching the first 50 completed in the 100 butterfly. Lane 5, Dante Yanatono of Holy Cross. But doing work underwater, freshman Phoebe Conklin of Housatonic Regional. So she emerges with the lead. But now, after the first 75, Dante Yanatono of Holy Cross is close, but it will be Phoebe Conklin of Housatonic that takes the C championship. Lane 3, Victoria Bargolini of Sheepog finishes third. Second goes to Darina Dobruna of Holy Cross. So dipping down all the way to 5th, Yanatono of Holy Cross. 4th went to Sophia Brenson of Granby, East Granby. Now the B final. Chase McCurrier, freshman of Seymour in 4, is the top seed. Nick Lebedev of Weston in 5. Brett Olson of Northwestern in 3. Derek Vasquez Amaya of Watertown in 2. Bryce Miller. And we have a swimmer into the pool for a false start. So this could slow down the entire pace here. With a warning given and now potential DQ. Cooper Kimball of Northwest Catholic. East Catholic is in 6. Alexander Regali of Woodland in 7. Arkadiusz Kuzepski of Woodland in 8. So every swimmer was warned
This is your 100-yard butterfly B final.
Obviously, much greater tension now. But the freshman McCarrier, the top seed of Seymour, 3 freshmen in this B final. Underway in the 100 butterfly B final. Out of lane 1, Bryce Miller did some great early work underwater. Lane number 4, Chase McCarrier of Seymour, as expected, touches the wall first after the first 50 in the 100 butterfly. And McCarrier also getting a challenge from Arkadiusz Krzyzewski of Woodland in lane 8. So polar opposites, both ends of the pool represented well this B final. But down the middle, Chase McCarrier of Seymour has opened up a lead, a half body length. Krzyzewski in lane 8 of Woodland is close. It is Krzyzewski's second, but Chase McCarrier in his freshman year takes the B final as a precursor of great things to come. Brett Olson of the Northwestern Regional Highlanders finishes third. And Regali of Woodland, who was in lane 7, finishing 6th. 4th went to Northwest Catholic, East Catholic freshman Cooper Kimball. And now to our championship heat. A year ago, the top seed today, Anthony Mascolo, finished 4th of Watertown. His challenger finishing 6th last year in this event, Leka Mustafa in his senior year from Weston. Darren Pesnokas of Plainville is in 5. Luca Giordano of Haddon-Killingworth, who is a Valley Regional student, in 6. Christopher Plage of Rocky Hill in 7, and Quinn McCormick of Northwestern in 8. Maddox Poitras of Nanawag in 2, and Agron Mustafa, also of Weston, in 1. Again, Weston started event number 6 and second to Watertown. So important here for Mustafa, Leka, and Agron, 2 brothers, to perform well here. While Watertown's Mascolo would love to take home the championship for himself and his Watertown team. So perhaps a substantial event here in the 100 butterfly that could go a long way in determining who the team state champion will be. And after the first 50, Mascolo in lane 4 has set the pace, but Leka Mustafa, as expected of Weston, is also right on him. Now for the final 25. Mustafa's had a big senior year, great upward trajectory all season. He puts on pressure, though, on Mascolo, but it's not enough. Anthony Mascolo from 4th to 1st a year later to lead Watertown to a title in the 100 butterfly. Congratulations to senior Anthony Mascolo. He is wanted to break all the school records, has been openly discussing and talking to Brianna Murphy and the staff about his desires, has just been relentless in his work ethic, and is going to take that with him to Iona next year with a 52-17 for Anthony Mascolo. Second to Mustafa of Weston. Third, Pesnokas of Plainville. 4th, Giordano of Haddon-Killingworth / Valley Regional. Now event 7 in the 100 freestyle, first of 3. So the first of 3 heats, Shippog Valley's Noah Shilgin, sophomores in lane 4. Ellington's Campbell Halpin, a freshman in 3. Sal Nirmouth Kapu of Ellington in 2. Ansley Matheson of Seymour in 1. Cullen Bonus of Housatonic in 5. Nathaniel Stull is in 6 of Lakeview. So is his teammate Grayson Crossman. And Aiden Benjamin of Watertown is in 8. After the first 75, lane 5, Cullen Bonus, freshman of Housatonic, is in position, and it will be a heat win for Housatonic and Cullen Bonus. Finishing in 3rd is Shilgin. In 2nd, Campbell Halpin of Ellington. And Nathaniel Stull of Lakeview in 4th. So Housatonic Regional, who had just 26 points after 5 events, will bump up somewhere in the top 15. Actually, maybe only about a couple of spots, but nevertheless, anytime you win a heat, you learn how to win, as many swim coaches will say. As up to our B final, Tom Halligan of Seymour. Freshman is the top seed with Flynn Priest of Northwestern Regional. Braylon Diamore, also a Highlanders in 3. Jay Foster, another Highlanders in 2. Cameron Salem of Oxford in 1. Maximilian Kasperik of Seymour in 6. Aiden Brown of Holy Cross in 7. Jake Southard of Woodland in 8. And off the wall first after the first 50, Tom Halligan of Seymour. And Seymour just a freshman for head coach Tom Jerzinski, who's a Holy Cross graduate. Coaching 4 years in the girls. Spent 9 years doing boys and girls at Shelton. Here for the final touch, it is Tom Halligan, freshman of Seymour. 2nd, Flynn Priest of Northwestern. And in 3rd, Jay Foster, also of Northwestern. 4th, Maximilian Kasperik of Seymour. So Seymour goes 1 and 4 in the B final. Third heat, Northwestern will be represented. They'll have Patrick Brett in lane 8. But lane 4, Elias Krukar, a state champion earlier of Lakeview, is the top seed. Nick DeBond of Watertown finished 5th in this event last year. Berlin's Owen Fern finished 6th, is back in this championship. Lewis Mills, Lincoln Prenovo in 2nd. Evan Gerasi of Rocky Hill in 1. Brendan Leahy of Weston in 6. Joe Nascimento of Watertown in 7. So Elias Krukar, about 40 minutes ago, won the 50 free state championship. And now a chance to take home his 2nd gold. And Krukar is in the water. Krukar also has twin siblings. A younger boy and girl brother that are 8th graders that are going to be a part of the Lakeview program moving forward. Mainly swam for the YMCA by himself before pursuing further club training, and he has exploded. And Rowan may have gotten someone that explodes into a substantial career at the Division III level at Rowan. After the first 75, Elias Krukar leads the pack. Nick DeMond of Watertown is in 2nd narrowly, along with Brendan Leahy of Weston. 2nd will be close. Krukar, though, wins the state at 100 free in Class S. Second does go to Leahy of Weston. So big scoring there for Weston. Demond has to settle for third of Watertown. So perhaps a significant and point differential as Coach Brandon Barone can celebrate that. Weston finishing second in the 100 freestyle final. But Elias Krukar, a state champion for the second time, accomplishes his goal of winning the 50 and 100. So with a pause in the action, we turn our attention to the 500 freestyle coming up in a few minutes on the NFHS network. First of three heats. Lane 4, the top seed for this heat, Christina Kostelny of Northwest Catholic, East Catholic, Dane Sobik of Lakeview in 5, Mia Cavallo of Watertown in 3, Dylan Krychik Casey of Seymour in 2, Aiden Sevick of Oxford in 1, Mackenzie Shutta of Northwestern in 6, Nyla Asif of Watertown in 7, and so is her senior Watertown teammate Olivia Ponzillo. Watertown represented with 3 swimmers, and again worth noting that for Coach Brianna Murphy and the way she is recruited in the district to not just come up with numbers now, they're up to 38 on the roster this year. Last year they had 28, just 2 seniors. This year, 8 seniors for Watertown. And they won the Naugatuck Valley League Championship in the regular season and eventually the team tournament crown. And now starting to have swimmers move on to college. Cole Demond is going to swim at Eastern Connecticut State Division III, and Anthony Mascolo, as I mentioned earlier, will swim at Iona. Julia Campbell will also swim for Assumption. Julia is a soccer player. But swims club year-round and then joined the swim team at Watertown here for the spring in her senior year. And that kind of recruiting, hats off to her. Brianna's now just finished her second year doing the girls, so now she has the full empire going. Brianna Murphy is a Watertown High School graduate and swam there. And Watertown is going to be heard from for many, many years. 38 on the roster, and that is Northwestern Regional type numbers. Northwestern Regional also knowing for being a small school but having tremendous luxury in having big numbers, but 38 is a number that would make a lot of Class M and even Class L programs jealous. So through 6 laps out of the 20. Lane 4, Christina Kostelny of Northwest Catholic East Catholic has the lead. And in lane 3, Watertown's Mia Cavallo is a firm second. And Dane Sobek in lane 5, freshman from Lakeview, is a solid third. Lakeview came up with the Bobcats as their nickname once the 2 school districts of Litchfield and Ramogo both deciding to combine into one school district, Lakeview. So all the athletes now play under one new school that's formed. And Litchfield in particular had some great sports history, but as it is in the austerity world and making adjustments that benefit the taxpayer as well as the students, that Ramogo and Litchfield, it was decided, should become one school district. But now they could be a real force in numerous sports like swimming. Christina Kostelny of Northwest Catholic East Catholic remains the pace setter. And Mia Cavallo of Watertown also sitting comfortably as she did 5 minutes ago, or 2 minutes ago. We're through 15 laps, and we'll see now who may start to make a move. And the lead has expanded for Christina Kostelny on the final lap. And Kostelny's lead is easily 5 body lengths over Mia Cavallo of Watertown on the final turn for Kostelny. So the top seed in this C final is going to swim to her seed time and beat it. She had a 5:57.12, 5:49.09 for Christina Kostelny, and in second, Mia Cavallo of Watertown. In third, Dane Sobek of Lakeview. Taking fourth is Nyla Asif, also of Watertown. Dylan Krajcik Casey of Seymour finishes in fifth. So Watertown with 3 swimmers represented there. And Watertown does not have anybody either in the B or the A final. Noah Metcalf, actually, beg your pardon, Noah Metcalf is representing Watertown. He's in 4 in this B final. They don't have anybody in the championship heat. Quinn McCormick of Northwestern is in 5. Dominic DiFranzo of Holy Cross in 3. Riley Peabody of Weston is in 2. Alan Gutich of Northwestern is in 1. Alfio Serraldo of Seymour is in 6. Nathan Schlosser, Northwestern in 7. And Jack Curtin of Northwest Catholic, East Catholic is in 8. Lane 4 with Noah Metcalf of Watertown. And leads a pack of 2 to 3 swimmers that'll jumble up for second.
Go, Dom! Go, Dom!
Out of lane 5, Quinn McCormick, Northwestern. Alfie Serraldo of Seymour in 6. And they are neck and neck for second. And it's nearly a full body length advantage for Noah Metcalf. And narrowly into second is Seymour's Alfie Serraldo. And on the turn through now 8 laps. And Serraldo has made up some of the distance with Noah Metcalf. Then Serraldo on the touch here. Through 9 laps. Looks to be in very good shape. However, off of this turn, Metcalf did great work underwater to quickly reclaim his lead by nearly a full body length. And now it's Quinn McCormick in second with Serraldo falling back. And they're each separated by about a half body length. Into lap 15 of 20 for the boys 500 freestyle. And now McCormick making his move and putting pressure on. Let's see what will happen underwater. And Metcalf barely hung on to that lead. Three laps to go. And out of lane 5, it's Quinn McCormick of Northwestern Regional. And the Highlander has made his move upon the final full lap. And he is leaving Noah Metcalf of Watertown behind. Seraldo of Seymour, a distant third. Quinn McCormick with a very strong final 75 meters, and he will put this heat away to win the B for Northwestern. Noah Metcalf has to settle for second, third to Seraldo. Quinn McCormick, junior of Northwestern, obviously an experienced 500 freestyler. He waited and waited. And then in the final 75, when it looked like he would be trying to hold on to third, he blew past Seraldo and then took on Metcalf, who led for the first 17, if not 18 laps. So Watertown unable to hang on to the B final. And out to our championship heat. A year ago, William Harrington of Weston finished 5th. He is back as the top seed. Jeremy Tomaszewski will be in 3rd from Seymour. James Campbell of Lakeview in 5. Sam Ferrero of Granby, East Granby in 6. Rob Winslow of Weston is in 2. Elliot McCardle of Lakeview in 1. Cheyenne Gavami of Oxford in 7. Dylan Costable of Abbott Tech is in 8. Harrington earlier winning the 200 freestyle after finishing 3rd last year, and now to try to complete a tremendous day for him and Weston. Weston only graduated 2 seniors from a year ago for Coach Brandon Barone, and added a huge freshman class that stabilized things. They have 14 total on the team this year. Don't have a diver, but 11 different swimmers participating for Weston as a sign of their strength. And Harrington to try to score. Remember, through 5 completed events, Weston was in 2nd by 8 points behind Watertown, but did lead Northwestern Regional by 40. And it is William Harrington out of lane 4, leading the pack for Weston. Seven laps completed. And a body length lead for Harrington over James Campbell of Lakeview. Next to him, lower portion of your screen, in lane 5. Campbell, just a sensational story, having learned to swim just 4 years ago. Dad was a football player at nearby Central Connecticut State in New Britain. But it might be Mom that gives him his distance strength. Mom was on the crew team at Brown. And now trying to establish, in essence, a new high school, the Lakeview Bobcats, combining with Ramogo and Litchfield high schools ahead of last year. Harrington now up to 2 body lengths. Lane 6, Samuel Ferrero of Granby would be in third. 13 laps completed. And fourth out of lane 3, Seymour's Jeremy Tomaszewski. Now it's easily 2.5 body lengths for William Harrington. Approaching his 17th completed lap. And it remains 2.5 body lengths ahead for William Harrington of Weston. Harrington with a strong turn. And after about an hour of winning the 200 freestyle, William Harrington of Weston will capture his second gold. In second, James Campbell of Lakeview takes second. Third, Samuel Ferrero of Granby. Fourth, Tomaszewski of Seymour. So congratulations to William Harrington in his junior year, a 2-time champion at the Class S Championships. And Weston now, I would believe, surges ahead of Watertown and would be sitting in first through 8 events. So we'll take a pause and take time out. Weston should be in the driver's seat, but still a lot of swimming remaining at the 2026 CIAC Boys Class S Championships on the NFHS Network.
They're probably starting to get warmed up, yeah. So we had enough to eat 186.
At this time, we need the top 6 finishers from the 100-yard freestyle to report to the podium, as well as the top 6 finishers in the 500. If you're ready, we'll give you enough time to get back there and ready.
Just flip flop that first 2 kids. No way around was supposed to go second. Sorry about that. I wrote it wrong. Totally my fault.
At this time, please bring your attention to the award podium for the medal ceremony for our top 6 100-yard freestyle finishers. Finishing 6, senior from Rocky Hill, Evan Tracy, 51-54. Finishing 5th, sophomore from Louisville, Lincoln Brown, 51-32. And 4th, who finished 6th the year ago, at the 4th place this year, junior from Berlin, Owen Fern, 49-54. And your top 20 Ball State finishers in the 100-yard freestyle in 3rd place, up from 5th the year ago, with Nicholas Demont from Watertown, and top 48. Finishing in 2nd was Brendan Lee, senior from Weston, 48-63. And your Class F 100-yard freestyle state champion, senior from Lakeview, Elijah Powell, with a time of 4:47. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now for the award ceremony for the 500-yard freestyle. Finishing 6th from Oxford High School, sophomore Shai Umangi, with a finishing in 5th is Robert Winslow, freshman from Weston, with a number 5:16:57. Your 4th place medalist for the seniors from Seymour High School, Gary Tomaszewski, with a number 5:04:85. And your all-state finishers finishing in top 3 with 500-yard freestyle and footers. Taking
And welcome back through 8 events. Weston indeed with the lead, 354 points. In first, Watertown in second. In third, Northwestern Regional. Into our 200 freestyle relay, first of 2 heats. Nonawag is in lane 4. The top seed, Holy Cross in 5, Berlin in 3, Shippaq Valley in 2, Plainville in 6, Ellington in 7, Granby/East Granby is in lane 1. Only 7 schools represented. Second swimmers are into the water. Lane 5, Holy Cross, Harold Corker, a freshman, has come out firing. That's given Holy Cross the advantage, at least the first 50. Corker on the touch. Still looks like it's Holy Cross's relay to win. Third swimmer's into the water. Lane 5, Dominic DeFranzo, freshman in lane 5, now getting a test from Scott Vivero, senior from Nonawag in 4. To the anchors in the water, junior Maddox Poitras of Nonawag, and Evan Hewson of Holy Cross in 5. It is Hewson that has created some separation. But great work underwater from Maddox Poitras. And this will come down to a photo finish. Hewson of Holy Cross at the bottom. He goes in with the touch with a strong final 8 meters. Holy Cross relay takes the B final. Poitras and Nonawag has to take second. In third, Berlin. In fourth, it's Granby with their anchor, Thomas Buns. And in third, Berlin with Owen Fern, tremendous swimmer, as the anchor. That was able to push forward and make up some time. Now into our championship heat in the freestyle relay. Remember, these are huge points. Watertown finished third last year. They're the top seed. Anthony Mascola will lead them off, primarily a backstroker. Lakeview with Elias Krukar, the state champion in the 50 and the 100, to lead off for Lakeview. Northwestern with Flynn Priest in 3, Weston in 2 with Jacob Rosen, Woodland in 1, Christian Orlowski, Seymour in 6, Rocky Hill in 7, and Oxford is in 8. Oxford, the defending champions in this event last year. Lane 5, Elias Krukar, as expected, with a full body length lead to hand it off to Tucker Marchand. And the grandson of Coach Fran Marchand is in the water. In second, Watertown with Brennan Baker. And in third, Northwestern's Jay Foster. Fourth, lane 6, Seymour's Maximilian Kasperuk. Watertown turns to Nathaniel Stull. James Campbell will be their anchor. It's about a half body length lead with Joe Nascimento in the water for Watertown. And Nascimento has made up tremendous time. And this is going to be even at the touch. And into the pool go the anchors. James Campbell for Lakeview. Watertown's Nick Damon, 2 seniors. Big points at stake. Off the touch, it's Nick Damond. Perhaps a head-length lead. Here comes Campbell. Campbell with a late surge. It's Damond of Watertown. Lakeview and James Campbell second. Third to Northwestern with Braylon Domore. Fourth to Seymour. So Watertown continues their banner day. So we'll take another pause. Watertown now has hopscotched Weston with the relay win. Watertown in first, Weston down to second, and Northwestern a very narrow third by my estimation through 9 events out of 12. What an exciting finish when we come back on the NFHS Network. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
And welcome back on the NFHS Network. West Hartford, Connecticut at the Cornerstone Aquatic Center. Event 10 of 12 in the CIAC Boys Class S Swimming Championship. Weston still has the lead. I'll go through that breakdown in a moment. First of 3 heats in the 100-yard backstroke, our C final. Campbell Halpin, freshman of Ellington, is in lane 4. Hang Tu Zhao of Northwest Catholic in 5. Aiden Benjamin of Watertown in 3. Dylan Krejcik Casey of Seymour in 2. Alex Poland of Northwest Catholic in 1. Chase McCurryher of Seymour in 6. Sullivan Santovasi of Lakeview in 7. And Alan Gutik of Northwestern in 8. It is very close at the top between Weston, Watertown, and Northwestern. Lane 4, Campbell Halpin of Ellington, and Chase McCurryher of Seymour in lane 6. It's actually going to be McCurryher in lane 6 that wins the heat. Second goes to Halpin, and third, out of lane 5, Hang Tu Zhao. Fourth to Santovasi of Lakeview. The championship in the 100 backstroke is also going to be huge, with all 3 of the schools at the top represented. Here in the second heat, Fisher Haddon of Ellington is in 4. Dante Yanantono of Holy Cross in 5. Darina Dobruna of Holy Cross in 6. Philippe Talar of Plainville in 3. Foley Santovasi of Lakeview in 2. So is Evan Kurla in lane 1 of Lakeview. Tyler Pachkovsky of Woodland in 7. Luca Giordano of Haddon Killingworth in 8th. Lane 4, Fisher Haddon leads the pack. Haddon by a body length plus. Battle for third. It'll be Philippe Talar of Plainville. And in third, Foley Santovasi of Lakeview. Fisher Haddon takes the B final. So Ellington has their first heat win of the day. As Ellington bids for a top 10 finish today. To our championship heat, headlined by Anthony Ficalora of Northwestern, finished 4th last year. Luca Daniele of Granby finished 5th. He's in lane 2. Sebastian Orfatelli of Bolton is in 3. Leka Mustafa of Weston in 5. Tavis Courier of Holy Cross in 6. Jacob Byer in lane 1 of Woodland. Joe Nascimento of Watertown in 7. Paul Tomaselli of Weston is in 8. So Weston represented twice. Watertown with Nascimento in 7. Northwestern Regional, Ficalora. And for Northwestern Regional to realistically capture the state title, I think they have to win this backstroke from Anthony Ficalora. And it's Ficalora so far doing the job. through the first 50. Sebastian Orfatelli of Bolton is in second, but Ficalora just increased that to a full body length. Anthony Ficalora of Northwestern. A body length plus, it'll be a Northwestern Regional. Gets the big performance from their senior. Orfatelli of Bolton takes second. Third to Luca Daniele of Granby. Congratulations, Anthony Ficalora, the state champion in the 100 backstroke. Turn our attention to the 100 breaststroke. Our final individual event before the 400 relay will wrap up this C championship. Lane 4, Julia Campbell of Watertown. In 5, Lily Torrance of Holy Cross. In 3, Andrew Dauphiné of Canton. Ryan O'Connell of Rocky Hill in 2. Dane Sobek of Laneview in 1. Gavin Lynn of Northwestern in 6. Ahmet Ugurlu of Lakeview is in 7. And Alex Varshavik of Plainville in 8. Julia Campbell still leads the way. Campbell in the C final. Campbell is there on the touch for Watertown. So another heat finish for Watertown. The Warriors capture another and maximize their points in the heat. Andrew Dauphiné of Canton is in 2. Finishing 3rd, Gavin Lynn of Northwestern. And 4, Lily Torrance of Holy Cross. Watertown will be seeking, as they try to put more pressure on, their 4th state championship and first since 1992. And Watertown will be represented in this B Final 2 with Brandon Baker in lane 5. Darren Paznakis in Plainville is in 4. Grant Parker of Lakeview in 3. Sadie Rubin of Granby in 2. Reed Nadeau of Northwestern in 1. Connor Tolmie of Emmett O'Brien is in 6. Tristan Spallone of Haddon Killingworth in 7. And Wilson DeShazo of Northwestern in 8. So it's Brendan Baker of Watertown, as the Warriors would love to capture both the B and C heats. But at lane 6, it's Connor Tolmie that is in front of Emmett O'Brien. He's the lone Emmett O'Brien swimmer here. Actually, beg your pardon, I think they may have another swimmer, perhaps as part of another team. But first that I have noticed, and at a lane 6, it's Connor Tolmie. Over O'Brien, Darren Pasnakis of Plainville takes second. Third, Grant Parker of Lakeview. Now to our championship heat. David Kozheniowski, senior of Bolton. Already a champion, looking for his second gold medal of the day. Kozheniowski earlier won the 200 IM. Kozheniowski flanked by, in lane 5, Jacob Rosen of Weston, who finished 3rd last year. Alexander Kaufman finished 6th, also of Weston. Tucker Marchand of Lakeview is in 3. Liam Denning in 2 of Sheepog Valley. Northwest Catholic, East Catholic, Grayson Bordeaux. He was in this event last year, finished 4th. Hayes Haddon in 7 of Ellington. Brendan Leahy of Weston in 5. Leahy last year finishing 5th. So 2 from last year's final heat are here again a year later in the 100 breaststroke. Alongside already a gold medalist in David Kozheniowski. So a stacked field in the 100 breaststroke. Kozheniowski also swims with USA Swimming at the Futures designation at the regional level. Kozheniowski out of lane 4, but through the first 50. It is a crowd at the top. Kozheniowski pops out first. Lane 5, Jacob Rosen of Weston putting pressure on. Kozheniowski now has increased that lead. It's significant by a body length or so. David Kozheniowski wins his second gold of the day. And the senior, one of just 2 Bolton swimmers that are trying to keep the program alive. He set some tremendous records, along with Sebastian Orfatelli, his fellow senior teammate and lone older Bolton swimmer. In second, it's Liam Denning of Sheepog. In third, Hayes Haddon at lane 7. And fourth, Alex Kaufman of Weston. So Rosen in lane 5 drops all the way to 6. So we have now completed 11 events. Final event coming. The freestyle relay, 3 heats. I'll give you a score update when I come back on the NFHS Network.
And in fourth place, the junior from Weston, Alexander Thompson, 1 minute point 36. And in third place, the senior from Ellington High School, 89 for the top 1 minute point 44. Finishing in second place, Liam Denny from Chicago, 59-48. And your 100-yard breaststroke champion, picking up his second event win of the day, is David Korzenowski from Bolton High School, 68.15. Congratulations, gentlemen. Updated team scores for event 11 with 1 event remaining. Top 5, Seymour. 5th, 266. 4th, Lakeview, 382. 3rd, Northwestern, 418. 2nd, Watertown, 444. And your leaders with 1 race remaining with 519 points in Weston High School. The final event of the day is a 400-yard freestyle relay. There is 3 heats. Swimming in that heat number 1, the C final is the team from Brightman High School.
That one line though, that was missing it for Kimball Thomas. So I can see it. It was a missing one. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, not one. Go, Sandy!
And we welcome you back on the NFHS Network. Ralph Bednarczyk with you. Boys Class S Swimming Championship underway in our final event, the 400 freestyle relay. Granby swimming by their lonesome. For head coach Ellis Winfrey, Alexander Edgar led it off. James McCabe swam second. John Gaffney to be followed by Thomas Buns to conclude the 400 freestyle relay before we return our attention to the B final, and then perhaps an anticlimactic A final. I'll give you the standings up to the second in a moment, but only disqualifications can shake things up in terms of the final order in the team standings. This is Thomas Buns finishing thing out for Granby to conclude their afternoon in Class S. But then we'll have a full house for the B and A finals. All 8 lanes represented. Well, check that rather. This is John Gaffney finishing up. Thomas Buns is up to be the anchor. The state record is 3 minutes, just to give you a sense that Greenwich set 12 years ago. And Granby here over 3 minutes here upon their anchor into the water. And we'll see Greenwich coming up in the double L. Thomas Buns to close it out, where Granby can look back and see if they've improved on their standing. Granby last year finishing 16th out of 22. As they clap in Thomas Buns, and that's of course not an easy thing to do, swimming with the water being still around you, so there's no outside push helping you out, and you're trying to generate your own energy. A 4:07.49 for the Granby 400 freestyle relay team. To the B final, Northwest Catholic, East Catholic is in lane 4, Oxford in 5, Sheepog Valley in 3, Ellington in 6, O'Brien Tech in 7, Berlin in 2, Rocky Hill in 8, and Nonawag in 1. Northwest East Catholic will be led off by Hang Tu Zhao. Oxford Cheyenne Gavami, Sheepog Valley Noah Shilgin. Out of lane 6, Fisher Hannon of Ellington, after the first 50 has set the tone. And lane 3, Sheepog Valley's Noah Shilgin. As expected, he is in second. Out of lane 5, Oxford's Galvani would be in third. Hadney is going to touch up, and freshman Abhinav Nair into the water for Ellington. Sheepog Valley's Abigail Perrin in lane 3 is a firm second. Lane 5, Justin Thomas of Oxford in third. It is still Ellington and the freshman Nair on the turn to try to keep that lead for Camber Halpin. Now at a lane 2, Berlin with Owen Fern. The tremendous Owen Fern is going to give Oleg Orshak the lead through 200 meters. But quickly into the water, Halpin of Ellington has made up some of that deficit and then some. You're watching lane 6, Campbell Halpin, as Berlin has fallen off. As Halpin trying to set it up for the older Haddon, Hayes Haddon, the senior anchor for Ellington. Lane 6, Halpin in second. Oxford with Aiden Sevick and Jack Curtin of Northwest Catholic even as the anchors are in the water. Lane 6, Hayes Haddon. After his first 50. And Haddon has opened it up significantly. Battle is for second. Lane 5, Oxford, Cameron Salem. Lane 4, Grayson Bordeaux of Northwest Catholic. The B final is going to belong to Ellington. Hayes Haddon on the touch for Ellington. Battle for second, lane 4. Grayson Bordeaux will get there. And Salem of Oxford will take third. Fourth will go to Sheepog Valley. Final race of this Class S championship. So here is the score. Weston at 519 are going to capture the program's 22nd championship, barring a disqualification. Watertown is in second at 444. Northwestern 418. Lakeview 382 in fourth. Seymour fifth, 286. So only DQs can shuffle the final standings. But Weston, you know, under Coach Brendan Barone, are not going to be satisfied. They want to go to the championship. They're the 1 seed for a reason and win the relay. Weston will be in lane 4, Watertown in 5, Lakeview in 3, Northwestern in 6, Seymour in 2, Woodland in 7, Plainville in 8, Holy Cross in 1. So the top 5 in the leaderboard all represented in this final event, the 400 freestyle relay. Weston's Brendan Leahy to start it off. Watertown's Anthony Mascolo. Lakeview's Elias Krukar. I would expect Krukar to do major damage as he is here. The gold medalist in the 50 and 100. So Krukar through the first 50, obviously in front. And at lane 5, Watertown's Anthony Mascolo not far off. All you want to do is just be close to Krukar when he's out of the water. Lane 4, Brendan Leahy of Weston, a firm second, so Krukar is done. Now Nathaniel Stull of Lakeview. Lane 4, Lekka Mustafa of Weston, very quickly making up ground and water in the first 25. And Mustafa, bottom of your picture, he is about to pass Nathaniel Stull, and he will. Senior Lekka Mustafa of Weston. Swims for the Stanford Sailfish. And Mustafa now a full 2-body length lead over Lakeview's Nathaniel Stull in third, rather in second. In third, Watertown with Derek Vasquez Amaya. Now in the water for Weston, Alexander Kaufman. And Kaufman has only added a lot of open water between first and second. And Kaufman is about to make it be a solid 8-meter lead. About to give way to William Harrington, twice a gold medalist today. Tucker Marchand in the water for Lakeview, trying to make up some of that ground for James Campbell to make it matter. Harrington in the water. Lakeview still in third with Campbell. Watertown from Nascimento to the anchor, Nick Damond. But it is William Harrington through the first 50 with a comfortable lead. James Campbell in third. Watertown still to be heard from, with Nick Damond at least pushing for second. But this is going to be a coronation for Weston in 2026. And for William Harrington, Weston officially wins their 22nd state title. They take the 400 freestyle relay, second to Lakeview, and James Campbell, the anchor, third to Watertown, fourth to Northwestern. No disqualifications, and 1 through 5 will remain as is. Weston captures the championship. A year after Weston finished third. And Watertown will have their best finish since 2005. They finished fourth last year. Northwestern third. After being second a year ago, Lakeview will finish fourth, eighth a year ago. Seymour up to fifth. They were 11th last year. So congratulations to several programs that bumped up in a big way a year later. Final totals about to be tabulated and then announced, and the coronation underway for Weston before they'll take a dip into the pool and celebrate with Coach Brandon Barone. For Barone in his 8th year, and this will be 3 out of the last 4 years for Weston. They won in 24 and 23, then 18 and 17, 4 in a row from 13 through 16. Most of those in Class S, but a program with great history going back to their first state title at Weston in 77 and 78 when swimming first started. Here are final total scores through 12 events. Weston's final number is 579. Watertown 496. Northwestern 468. Lakeview 436. Seymour 314. So pretty big gaps in every spot 1 through 5. Woodland, last year's champion, finishing 6th with 307 for a team under Coach Ray Snyder that did graduate a lot. Had 9 seniors, but still finish in 6th place as a sign of that program's overall strength and tradition. Other notable performances, Granby under Coach Ellis Winfrey. Big improvement. Granby 16th last year, 11th, 9th this year, doubling their point total. Sheepog Valley as well, 15th last year, up to 10th. Ellington a standout too, as Ellington finished in 8th. Holy Cross finishing exactly in 6th place as they did a year ago. We'll take a pause and come right back as Weston, the Warriors, will take a dip in the pool when we return on the NFHS Network.
In 6th place, from Woodland Regional High School, 335-30,
Back for the grand finale. Our combined team scores once again. Weston, you're watching head coach Brandon Marone and his team about to take a dip. The program winning their 22nd state title. Watertown in second with a great year under Coach Brianna Murphy. Northwestern Regional, also a sensational season, finishing top 3 again under Coach Mary DeMoro. Fourth to Lakeview in their second year as a combined program, formerly Litchfield and Ramogo. Lakeview, the Bobcats now having their own identity, and Seymour finishing 5th. Great bump up for Seymour as well under Coach Tom Jerzinski. So here's the dip for Weston after missing out last year. Weston is back in the pool as champions for the 3rd time in 4 years. Congratulations to the entire staff as Weston has its coronation. There goes Brandon Barone, and Brandon finally into the water after maybe doing a little head fake. And he does decide to take the shoes off and jump in. And great congratulations to the Weston Warriors. 3 out of 4 years under Coach Brandon Barone in his 8th year. And what a power he is now building that can churn from one year to the next and compete for state titles in Class S. That'll do it for our entire crew today. For Jennifer's Army, my name is Ralph Bnorchik saying so long, good night, and goodbye. You can watch a live recap and archive of this swimming championship here on the NFHSnetwork.com as soon as we go final. Until then, we say so long and goodbye from West Hartford and the Cornerstone Aquatic Center.
We're going to turn face up.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
Thank you.
you want to hold this? So is he commentating tonight? Yeah, he's hired by Well, just call us if you like run into any issues. Okay. Like, or if you need a break, I can come for like an hour. I don't know if I do 6 to 9. Because I left him everything. But
No. I think we should be okay as long as everybody shows up.
Yeah. I'd come do an hour. All right, time to get out of the pool pits. Let's go.
There we go. There's that poster. I knew if we were patient enough, we'd get it.
Should we jump in? Should we jump in? We should jump in.
At that end.
We should. I would. If I was doing this tonight, all of this 3 hours.
Well, we got 2 more tomorrow. After the very last one.
Are you covered tomorrow?
I think so.
Let me know, because tomorrow's actually kind of a late day for me.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go
Except
to
in
the
the
water.
afternoon.
And I'm going to go to the...
You have other stuff?
No.
I got to find my phone so that I can...
I think so.
Maybe David will take it home.